Respected dignitaries on the dais and my dear friends. Thank you for giving me this opportunity for speaking on this project. Actually, of all the three projects we have handled, technologically this is not superior. In fact, IIT and ISHR was more challenging technologically. When this was taken up by the directorate, you have to give a lecture on this topic. First I thought why, but when I started preparing presentation, I realized it. This project remains as a symbol of a representation of human grit, where a person has to run against a time schedule which was put as a challenge against CPWD, a challenge against the contractor, a challenge against everybody in the entire team. So considering that background, we realized it, in fact, when I started preparing the presentation, and our AD sir also knows how much pressure he has also faced as a part of the team. Master sir also knows. So let us go ahead with the presentation right now. Thank you. Next slide. I think probably I have to press it. Yeah. This is the brief project overview, where we have a National Academy of Customs and Central Excise and Narcotics. This is going to be premier institute for the trainees of all IRS officers in India. Like we have for IAS officer in Mussoorie and IPS officer in SVP, NP and Hyderabad. This institute has been identified as a premier institute for training of the all IRS officers, as well as new recruits, as well as mid-service training. And also, as subsequently they realized they wanted to go into the international level. So they tied up with the International Customs Organization also. They want to bring the customs training into the India also, because the training abroad in mid-service training is a good lucrative business. So Government of India thought appropriately, why not we build a world-class training institute where people will participate from world over, will come and train here and go back. It's a good foreign exchange for us also, and recognition and upkeep, and as well as the upgradation of the human resources of the country also. Keeping that overview, they took up this project. It was the pet project of the Nirmala Sitharan madam, which she dove into that particular area. She identified and she was the driving force, monitoring it very closely. Every 15 days she was getting a report on this project. So keeping this as a challenge to make a premier institution, as well as which of international significance, and they wanted to have eco-campus design, and they wanted to have smart campus, and then at the same time they wanted to have a Griha 5-star rated campus, not anything below 5-star rating, and all 500.2 acres of campus they wanted to have 5-star rating. That was the challenge, and the timeline given was abnormally ambitious. See, they wanted to finish the project, inaugurate the project in just 1 month, 1 year, 2 months. That was the challenge given from the date of administrative. And this amount of sanction was 702 crores at that time. So let us go into next slide then. Yeah, this is the layout of the campus. The land that is given 500.2 acres of campus, where the access is only right from top and right hand side, top corner of the picture which you are seeing, where we have the national highway running around, and there is small state highway also is there, which is abutting with the bottom line. But that major access is on the top. And we have a beautiful lake also, Palasamudram lake, which in fact has added a lot of beauty to the campus, which we took full utilization of it when we developed into it. So when this challenge was given, and we knew right from the day of the preliminary estimate preparation also, this is going to be a challenge. This was told to us, so and everybody was geared up. So one consultant was put on board before the preliminary estimate was prepared, and everybody was geared up for this kind of challenges. So the major challenges faced here as any project, like generally like IITs which have dealt ISHR, they knew their requirements. Faculty knew their requirements well in advance, what they wanted. Here the client also doesn't know, never knew what was his requirements. They kept on changing during the time of preliminary estimation, during the time of execution. Till handing over also they were keeping on changing. That was a major challenge which we faced. Because in CPWD we see the technological challenge as a major challenge, but what we don't see as inherent challenges are the challenges which we face from the client, especially when the client doesn't know what he wants. This was a major problem. And secondly, we were racing against the time. That is another challenge. Third was, the challenge was, their expectations were huge, and it is not a normal 3-star rated campus which they wanted. They wanted to have an international premier institution with 5-star Griha rating, with all high-fee, all high-end facilities. A small example I'll tell, like networking which you do in every building, they wanted to have parallel network. One is internet, one is internet. They said some of the communication we do, which nobody will hack. So this kind of expectations these people had. And under these situations, the preliminary planning has started. And we had two kind of sanctions. One was the pre-construction challenges. That means, which we right from scratch till we went to give the preliminary estimate, what challenges we faced. That was pre-construction. And then post-construction as usual. The agencies, then changes by the client, all those things will happen. So I be deliberative on these things when we do. So these are the original project scope. What is given to CPWD is planning a design of the whole campus, and then construction, infrastructure development, and then technology integration also, all high-fi models. And to meet their requirements of the expectations, the planning stage, what we did is, these are some steps which we planned through the architect who is Muralesh, and then we made a small team of also, which we call a Palasamudram project team, PPT, which we call. So here the part of CPWD officers, part of NACIN officers, part of the consultants, everybody was made a team. So all the, whatever brainstorming was going on was putting into that. And we were discussing. And so we had strategic site selection. Site is almost more than 100 kilometers away, 500.2 acres given to us. And then balance land use, because they said you should not make it a concrete jungle. So we had to do a lot of balancing, creating a zones. So one was considered as academic zone, another was a hostel zone, third was a residential zone. In between we created the zone of the playfields and other facilities also. And then Griha 5-star rating. So luckily, since we had consultant on board, so we could engage a Griha consultant right from the preliminary estimate, preliminary planning itself. So what kind of planning had to go? Otherwise, it is very possible to get a 5-star rating if you don't involve a Griha expert right from preliminary design itself. So we had the person on board at that time, but then they had a biophilic design. They said whatever natural, we had a beautiful lake all around. We have some of the greenery also, which is all around. They said we want to make use of it. So we used it from every part of the building. We should have, like we have a beautiful administrative building and academic building, where we can have a view of the lake almost most of the part of the building. So this was also accounted for. And then some innovative, of course, these innovative materials are not so innovative to CPWD. For a client, it is innovative, but for us, I will say there are routine items which we are using, like GGBS in concrete, and then low VOC products, and then insulation, under-deck insulation, water-deck insulation. These are the ones. And then these technological advancements are the ones which they have wanted. Actually, they want to have advanced networking, not a routine networking. And then we had enhanced security with all kind of security features built into the campus, then the smart building management system, and then modern learning tools. They have a good training institute, where a field training center, where they have all kind of facilities world over, what customs people face, like smuggling of the goods, artifacts, ganja, whatever you say, drugs. So how to train them? They had institutes, so that they wanted to have all online facility, at the same time physical facility also. So that also was one challenge, where a lot of their requirement, that is where we had a lot of problem. They never knew what they wanted. As they kept on doing, they kept on changing their requirement. That added a lot of burden to us also. And smart building management system, of course, we integrated HVAC in while planning itself, and lighting control, and then security and safety also. And then renewable, to make the 5-star Griha rating, you will never achieve unless you are almost, we'll say, near self-sustaining in terms of energy, water conservation, and use of water. So that we could achieve it. Solar power generation, we planned for it, almost more than 50% of the campus requirement. We planned for it by way of 2.7 megawatt plants, 1 megawatt solar plug, and 1.7 rooftops. That we convert into partly walkways, partly into the buildings. And we had around 4 crore liters water storage, 4.3 crore liters storage, 2 more reservoirs which we created to, in fact, this district incidentally is one of the most drought prone districts of the country. If you name top 5 districts of the country which is drought prone, this is one among them. Rainfall is very scarce, so whatever runoff that comes, we try to utilize it. And then we had on-site sewage treatment also, where we wanted to use, because campus is more than 500 acres with huge forestation already there, and huge greenery which we had planned to develop. We need water, so the water requirement we had to use very cautiously, so we developed 2 STPs. And then HVAC, again, this is a peculiar situation. Normally, we don't give cooling to hostels, but this is a case of International Institute, where hostels are also to be fed with air conditioning. And if we plan for one air conditioning system, one for academic area, one for hostel, the requirement was going to be more than 4,000 tons, 3,800 something. So we improvised, we went for district cooling system, where we had a single plant, we had chilled water pipeline, we made a loop also. So because of that, plant capacity has gone to 1830 tons. So it runs in the morning, it runs in the night. And same chilled water runs it, that's where we economize the capital cost as well as the maintenance cost of the institute. Because it's not just the capital cost, maintenance of that institute unit also will come down. Then improved air quality, of course, because of the post-corona situation, everybody was cautious. They wanted to have, like this room, highly pure ambient air, clear air, quality of air, they were very cautious. So in most of the rooms, we went for HEPA filters. And then sustainable design, as I told, like water recycling, all those things we have taken care in the planning itself. Then, as I said, they never knew what their requirements are, like flexible classrooms. Some classrooms they say we want to have either 60 or 120 or 180. We never know how we operate. So you give us a design which is either we can split it into 3 rooms or we combine into one also. So this kind of thing was also planned with collapsible wall partitions, and then auditoriums with hi-fi, all high-end LAN integrated auditoriums also. And universal accessibility, of course, a routine matter of CPWD. And then integration of digitalization, enhanced communication, they wanted auditorium immersive, where people even online also they can have interaction in the auditorium. That the facilities they wanted, and the remote learning capabilities. There is a field training institute where they wanted to impart remote training at the same time in field training also. And this was the project layout. And then the project challenges after that planning stage, when we went ahead, then time was short. So everybody, right from including my predecessor also, everybody was in the planning, started planning well in advance. They knew that the bomb is going to blast one day. So the day they have given preliminary estimate, then by the time it comes, our clock will start much before that. So they started preparing the preliminary, detailed estimate, even tender document much before it. So in February 2nd or so, I think they have given the administrative approval. By end of February, NIT was ready. It was voted. And it was awarded it went through all the procedures and then awarded the stipulated date of start as the May 2022, stipulated date of completion May 24. And then one phase, they divided the project into 2 phases. So phase A was to be completed by September 2023, which unfortunately ministry has advanced. Foreseeing the advancement of their parliament election, they said, no, we don't want to wait till September, advance to July. So that is another bomb which has fallen on the whole team. So, under these situations, the team worked and the tendering stage was done. Planning stage, after post-tendering, when agency was there, planning stage. Again, in EPC mode, this is mode 1 and 2, combination of 1 and 2. So, not mode 3. So, he had to do his designing. So, this immediately the moment the contractor became L1, and one good thing we forced is we forced the contractor to use the same consultant as an architect for detailing. Otherwise, 2 different architects to go, their ideology will change. Again, a lot of time will go. So same person was taken on board by the same contractor. So the theme of the ideology scheme, it continued flawlessly. And then planning stage also done in expedition way. And the execution phase also, where we had these, again, we expedited, I will explain in the subsequent slides, they're handing over commissioning stage. Then tendering phase was the time constraint and then staff limitation. There was no dedicated staff given to the project at that time. It was being operated by SC Varangal, Suresh, from a 700-kilometer distance. Then they brought the team, shifted to site then. Then the phased approach, as I said, we knew we cannot do the whole project in one go. So that's what we planned is we will identify phase A, phase B. Phase A, 18 buildings, rest of the 12 buildings in phase B. And then priority identification, that's where we prioritized. And rapid tender planning was done well in advance, then timely tender was done, completed. And then planning phase, multidisciplinary coordination was very important. So we brought almost all the consultants together. And we saw to it that contractor well in time engaged normally in any project what will happen is, so contractor after completion of the structure, he will think, I will think of a year now. So when you want to 5-star catering, you should have everybody on board and then all services integrated. This was taken in well in time. And then version control, we all made a Google Drive. Everybody will have our latest update because at that time thrust was not on a physical communication but on e-communication. So the Google Drive was one media where everybody shared the same platform. All latest drawings were shared. Everybody had access to it, and everybody had to work with the latest. Otherwise, somebody will work on one drawing, and somebody else will work on some other drawing. When it comes for execution, there will be a clash of the disciplines. Then where the work will suffer. So this was ensured through single Google Drive system where everybody had to, and we had different WhatsApp groups also for every discipline. At the same time, all integrating into through one project team, that is a PPT. The conflict resolution also was done through regular interactions, and then all the approvals whatever wanted they were given in time, and then regular meetings also with clients as well, online, offline, and then centralized collaboration. We made a team, and then centralized integration. The special agencies all were approved in time. I will not go into detail. It is a routine matter because time is short. I was told to finish in 10 minutes. So the completion of priority means, as I said earlier, phase A had 18 buildings. Then when it came to the situation, the requirements kept on changing. Site is remote. And getting the material also from everywhere. If you want RMC, it has to come from 100 kilometers from Bangalore only. So contractor put a batching plant here. Even BT plant he has put here. He tied up with the local suppliers. Suppliers, he started running it, so that's why we control some of the bulk users. Otherwise, the concreting that went into the project was more than 63,000 cubic meters. So getting that through RMC would have costed us. So he put it. And then BT, what we had was, the road was around, I think, 1.5 lakh square meters road area. So everything we was planned all to be done in less than approximately 1.5 years. And then accelerated timeline was advanced by from September to July actually. So against this people were running. Then priority structures, when we said our timeline is advanced, we cannot do 18. So the best point is realizing your own limitations. So we as a team realized it cannot be done all 18. So thrust was given on 8 with the consent of client. So let us do this. What are presentable, let us make it do. Otherwise, neither we do that nor we do this. So this was the planning that went. Then the whole team worked in a collaborative effort. They worked it, and then procurements also whatever required, they were planned well in advance. Like especially the approvals of the E&M equipment and procurements well in advance were made so that work will not suffer because of that. And then regulatory approvals, of course, multidisciplinaries were there. So to overcome that, we made a liaison team, part from CPWD, from client, from contractor. One liaison team was made. The duty of the liaison team was to liaise with these people and post the feedback regularly. Otherwise, sometimes what happens is either contractor will go alone or sometimes CPWD will follow liaise alone. Or sometimes then it doesn't work out, then we will tell the client, you play a phone kar lijiye, kaam nahi ho raha hai. So to avoid that time gap, so we made a team of 3 members. So we said all 3 will go and interact together. Whenever anything, let's say fire department, local bylaws, whatever body, local bodies, whatever is required. Even forest also we had to take some clearance. So all those things, all the team has done it. All 3 had gone together, client involvement. That's where the process optimization has taken place. And then execution also, see, when you knew the work has to started, so well in, right from the became L1 till it is accepted, we put the contractor start doing your homework. He started doing it, and then earlier planning time given to contractor to start the work was 3 months, but work started in less than 2 months before. And in fact, for nearly almost all the 30 buildings, the foundation was started simultaneously in 3 months. And then challenges of the terrain was uneven terrain, rocky. In fact, structurally, safe that way safe. We have went for normal isolated footing foundations only there. But structure-wise, it was somewhere rocky. Huge blasting we had to do someplace. Someplace we had to shift the buildings also to expedite the work. The buildings we had relocated, and the agency had to work almost more than 2 shifts. More than 2 shifts a day. Sometimes they were working 3 shifts also. And including to account for it, he brought more machine. And the challenge here was mostly in Andhra, manpower who work construction labor is very limited. So they have to be brought from outside. So to bring them, they have to give incentives to people to relocate, and then extra payment, everything has to be done, and put them in the camps, take care of them. And then the deployment of resources of the human manpower, and then modularization. Some of the items we went for modularization, like we had huge 5-kilometer line air conditioning pipeline which has to run in a trench. So we went for the precasting of it so that we put it and saved the time. Same is the case with roadside drains also. That saved time. And then we had weather conditions also. Either it is extremely hot where temperature crosses more than 40-45 degrees in summer, or rains are limited, but occasionally it will come and spoil. So we had to stagger the planning to avoid this. Even in the working in the midday condition also, people who are working, they had to get and huge, whatever instead to avoid from dehydration, that caring has been taken. In fact, peak summertime they were given off during midday working. They said you work in the other times. So the rescheduling of the activities has helped us, and some temporary production occasionally whenever it happens, rain happens, that we are taking care so that work moves smoothly. And then the district suppliers, as I told, the chain network is from far off. Some of them we can't avoid. In fact, some of the requirements are so stringent from the client. Like we had a curved fall ceiling. In fact, I'll show the photograph also. In fact, they could have been made in India. They said, no, we wanted to have coil finish. Coil finish is never made in India. We have to get it from China. And that was given when the project was to be inaugurated, originally to be inaugurated in December. And they have given us the clearance only in September 19th or so. They said in 2.5 months, you have to get this thing from China. And I directly it also. These kind of peculiar situations we faced in this project. So establishing a link with them, and then having a team with the client, asking client to liaison with them for customs clearances, and we have given the suppliers numbers also to clients. So you please make a team, you pursue it. It was a collaborative effort of the combined team that I went ahead. And then recruit, of course, these were the actions taken for getting more people. I know, I have to wind up. So, adapting to client changes, expediting interior works. Yes, of course, interiors were not in the scope of CPWD. Yeah, I know. I just finished off, sir. Nothing more. 2 more slides. So, client changes for expediting. In fact, originally furniture was not part of this scope. I mean, originally furniture was partly. Then they said you will do separately. Interiors were not part of it. Then they said CPWD will do interiors also. That has become, and midway they told. So, in fact, we have engaged the same concern by we will pay extra. You continue with this. So, we developed interiors, and they never knew their requirement. The problem was, if you knew what was the requirement, you come with one model or 2 options. No, they never knew, so they said come with almost 3, 4, 5, multiple options they had to do. That was another challenge. And that put a load on an entire team and getting the things done. And then this is what simple case of code falsing, which I was mentioning, which we had to import in a period of 2.5 months and install it in 15 days. Yeah. And then equipment, equipment, furniture, of course, we had done it through GEM and rapid in 40 days it was purchased. HVAC, of course, we brought in other people from experts. And major problem was cash flow. And 700 crores you have to book in 2 years. Cash flow has to be smooth. So we requested them, work should never stop. So luckily, like last year, I can start it out 260 crores, we booked 402 crores. So that was a smooth cash flow which saw to it, and then handing over and commissioning, of course, it went smoothly, and we had some niches, but of course, it's good. And this inauguration by Honorable Prime Minister, 16 January 2024, and this is a campus that has developed, and this is concluded. It remains as a testament of CPWD's resilience. If somebody, see, there is no substitute to the hard work and dedication. As long as you have dedication and hard work, this is one project. Even if you run against time, race against time, against unknown tons wage, which client which he asks, even he doesn't know. Unknown roads also you travel, you can achieve the results. This is a classic example. Few photographs I'll go through. There are buildings and few interiors also, auditorium, academic block, and then trainee hostels, officers mess, and then admin block. And then thank you very much.
Race against the time. So next.